Welcome back to Data Science for Security Professionals. I'm your instructor, Sanan Ozdemir, and we're going to be taking a quick minute to look at everything that you're going to need to succeed in this course. Now, I mentioned last time that we are going to be using a lot of Python modules, and one of the easiest ways to get set up is by downloading Anaconda distribution. And you can find this at continuum.io/downloads. And then they have a flavor for Windows, Mac, and Linux, so go ahead and click on whatever machine that you have, and be sure to download the Python 2.7 version. That's going to be really, really important, so please download Python 2.7 because that is a version that we are going to be using in our class. Now, once you've installed Anaconda, you should have pretty much everything that you need. Now, for Linux and Mac users, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to open up your terminal for Linux and Mac users. If you're using Windows, I do recommend you download something called Git Bash or Git for Windows, and it's going to include everything that you need in order to follow along with what we are talking about. So go ahead and download this, Windows users, and once you do and install that and open it up, you should be able to run the exact same commands as we are going to run. So once you've installed Anaconda and downloaded the code files that you need for this course, you're going to need to open what's called a Jupyter Notebook, which is basically a notebook running inside of your internet browser with all of our code in it. Now, go ahead and navigate your terminal to the place where you have all of your code files. And if that's also not very familiar with you, I do recommend taking a very quick 2-3 minute terminal navigation tutorial that would use commands such as cd for change directory and things like this. But once you're in the directory that you need to be in, go ahead and type in Jupyter Notebook and note that Jupyter is spelled with a Y. When you hit that, code will happen and things will happen. And what should then happen is your internet browser should automatically open. And when it opens, you should see everything that you need for this course. So I have it organized in this file structure. So you should be able to see a file structure here, and if you open up one of my folders, you'll see a bunch of files like you would on a normal computer screen. And I'm going to go ahead and open up one of the code files called 1_pandas, and you'll notice that it's a notebook because of the end of the file is called IPYNB, which stands for IPython Notebook. So if I go ahead and click that, it's going to open up a notebook in a new window. And pretty much all of my videos in the future are going to be working off of some Jupyter Notebook. So I definitely recommend that you get familiarized with this concept very soon. Now, once you're in the notebook, you're going to notice that everything is outlined as cells, what we call them. And each cell is going to have Python code inside of it. To run a cell of Python code, you're going to want to hit Shift Enter. When you're highlighting a code block and you hit Shift Enter, it will run the code inside of it. So for example, I just ran the cell that imports all of the Python modules that I'm going to need for 1_pandas. And you'll see that an asterisk appears next to the input to know that we are dealing with running code right now. So when there is an asterisk here, the code is running. When the code finishes running, the asterisk will go away and we will replace with a number. So if I run this cell block, we're going to see that it has outputted something. I'm going to run this cell block and we'll see that code has outputted. So running a Jupyter Notebook is fairly simple. Now, throughout this course, I'm going to also be using modules that are not included in Anaconda. And when I do so, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and install that software on the terminal as well. To install software, for example, if I want to install something called TextBlob, which is something that we're going to be using, in my terminal, I would write pip install TextBlob. And when I write this in Git Bash for Windows or my terminal for Mac and Linux, what's going to happen is it's going to search online for something called TextBlob, and once it finds it, it will collect it, install it, and then once it's done, it will say successfully installed, and then you are good to go. So between Anaconda, Jupyter Notebooks, and pip installing, that's everything that you're going to need to know for succeeding in this course. So I can't wait to see you next time, and have a great rest of the day.